Please direct your attention to the stage as we prepare for Michigan Congressman Thaddeus McCotter.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. You know, when they told me they were going to play the video, I was a bit chagrined because in my mind's eye I have a full head of hair. But as children of God, we realize our limitations and our mortality. But as a free people, we must always recognize the greatness within us. This generation of Americans has a choice to make. We can focus on the jeopardy, or we can seize the opportunities. We can seize freedom. Our nation was conceived as a revolutionary experiment in liberty and self-government. And today, we are called to conserve and improve that experiment. At the very time, all around us, we are seeing self-government and liberty expand. When we look at our economy, we see stagnation. We see the effects of institutions, be they the federal government, or be they the failed bailout banks on Wall Street, that think they are more important than you, that believe they are too big to fail. They are wrong. The only thing too big to fail in the United States are the sovereign American people. And that is why I have no doubt that you recognize the future is not big government, it is self-government. And that you will seize the opportunity to undo so much of the damage that has been done under the Obama administration and under the past Democratic majority in the Congress. And this is very simply why. We know we live in a period of time where you can, at your laptop computer, seek sources of information from anywhere you wish and use that information to make a decision. We know that in a BlackBerry in the palm of your hand, you can communicate around the world to the disparate reaches of Earth, to talk to friends, family members, or to make a purchase. We understand that today, in your lives, you are being empowered to make your own decisions to extents undreamt in human history. And yet we see one entity that refuses to recognize the reality around us, and that is big government. Today we live in what is known as a consumer economy. What that means is that you make the decisions, you make the investments, you make the purchases. That is called a free market. We cannot have the big government model that is highly centralized, highly vertical, taking your decisions, taking your property, and centralizing it in Washington. That is called the politics of the past. And that is why I would ask my fellow Republicans that when any Democrat tells you they are progressive, please correct them. They are not progressive, they are regressive. Because big government, the welfare state that was created and reached its zenith under Lyndon Johnson when I was born in 1965, is non-sustainable in 2011 in a globalized world. And that is why government must be restructured for the 21st century. It must not merely be shrunk, it must not merely be cut, it must be restructured the same way that businesses and families have had to restructure their priorities and their operations to be competitive in a global age. And the central organizing principle is this, as we of the party in Lincoln and Reagan well understand. The fallacy of the welfare state is that it tempts those who are self-reliant to trade their liberty and their property for false state benefits and security. We know that a compassionate country takes care of those who cannot help themselves and those who need temporary assistance to get back the dignity of self-reliance. But as we restructure government, we will never again ask a person who already has the dignity and the self-respect of a job, who has the dignity and self-respect of self-reliance, to ever become dependent on government, because we know you cannot empower an individual woman by making them dependent upon another person. That is wrong. And speaking of dependence, let us turn our eyes to the failed bailout banks on Wall Street. You know, we heard the concept of too big to fail. We know that as a practical matter, the bailout has not worked. We know that because we know that for the first time since the Great Depression, you have seen credit contract in the United States. That means that no matter how much tax relief we rightly do, no matter how much regulatory relief we rightly do, no matter how much of an all-of-the-above maximizing of energy policy in the United States we rightly do, this economy will remain stagnant until the banks are forced to recapitalize at their expense so the credit gets down to the entrepreneurs, innovators, and workers who will grow this economy in the near term and shape it for the 21st century. And more importantly even than that, you will reaffirm as a free people that we are all equal sovereign citizens, and you should not pay the failure of those banks out of the hard work and the fruits of your labor. And as you grow and shape this economy, as you seize freedom, as you restructure the federal government, you will also be asked to address the reality that we remain and are a nation at war, that we have brave men and women in uniform defending our liberty in foreign lands, and it is heartbreaking to know that we cannot bring them home as quickly as our hearts wish them to be. But make no mistake, as someone who has met with them, both at home and abroad, as someone who has met with the families of the fallen and tried to comfort them as best I could, they are quite proud of what they are doing to defend you, and they are rightfully so. Because, my friends in the party of Lincoln and Reagan, the American military remains a force for moral good in the world, because in order to secure our liberty, our young men and women in uniform are expanding liberty to others.